why are you there, hun? Like, you've got many things you could be doing instead than just doing this.
Well, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, mate.
How do you specifically feel about Matt Hancock going on to I'm a Celeb to raise awareness about dyslexia?
I don't know how he's quite kind of justified that, because I feel like you go into I'm a Celebrity because it's a reality TV program. There's nothing really based around sort of dyslexic traits on there.
Anything that raises the profile of a learning difficulty that can be, let's face it, crippling academically if you don't have adequate and appropriate early support. Anything that raises that profile is good.
Having opportunities for people to talk about dyslexia on TV is inherently a good thing. I don't think it requires somebody to be eating bugs and disgusting things and going through this process of humiliation on national TV for.
Going on a reality TV show where it is alleged that you're being paid £400,000 is not being of service. There are so many different ways in which we can promote dyslexia. And, you know, I'm digging here saying, oh, well, I hope to see his dyslexia in the challenges. Go on Countdown if you want to. Like, go on Countdown. Then we're really going to see how dyslexia shows up, if I'm speaking plainly.
That's even before we get onto the idea of whether Matt Hancock should be participating so soon after the COVID crisis, whether he should be participating when he's so closely associated to the government's handling of the pandemic, and whether or not a sitting MP who's got constituents to represent should be actually on a programme in the first place when it should be kind of representing democracy.
It's hard to kind of like push your views aside. It really is.
So do you think that his reputation could potentially impact like the image of dyslexia and the reputation of dyslexia?
I don't think people are going to think of Matt Hancock and dyslexia and link that to his personal choices and his political journey.
We have to showcase dyslexic thinking in a positive light, and I don't necessarily think that this is showcasing it in a positive light. I feel like it's more going back maybe 10 years or so.
It's really important that we separate Matt's life choices, behaviour and performance as a politician from his dyslexia. It does the dyslexic community no good whatsoever when we conflate the two.
But at the same time, this is the weird juxtaposition. The fact that I'm talking to you now and the fact that this interview is taking place is because he has said that he's doing this for awareness for dyslexia. So then I'm sort of thinking to myself, hang on, how can this be?
Parliament is still sitting, we're not in recess.
Yeah.
You know, we've
but
still got
I genuinely think that because we've now got sort of stability, that is, you know,
We've had stability for all of 5 minutes, man.
Yeah, but but Rishi's great. He'll be fine.
Credit to Matt, because he was trying to pass the dyslexia bill, which would have ensured that every primary school child would have had at least a dyslexic screening. A screening and a diagnostic assessment are two very different things, but a screening would have been a step in the correct direction.
I'm in belief with him. I agree with him that he needs that this is an initiative that needs to get done, because I wasn't screened until I was 20, and I realised that I had a lot of difficulty in my school years, but my teachers just thought, oh, it's just him being a little bit careless, rather than, oh, he's got dyslexia. So if there was some form of national screening that ensured that people like me who might become obvious later but aren't necessarily obvious at first, that can only be a good thing. I think what I disagree with Matt Hancock is the way that he is trying to create this awareness.
If schools have that capacity to do it in-house, then I think it's a good thing, because you will identify need. If you identify need early, you can then actually start to do things to address it, and you had inability to read, write, spell, horrific mental health issues. You were heading that off at the pass because you've done things in advance.
Especially in the UK, in order for you to get support, a diagnosis is so important that if you don't get the diagnosis, you don't get the support. So you may do a screening, you may know that you have dyslexia, you may have all the symptoms of dyslexia, but without that all-important diagnosis, you can't get it.
It's the lack of support, I think, sometimes in schools that are required, and also the increasing necessity of screening being available universally, that needs to be sort of pressed much more on, because I fear that particularly with the cuts that might be coming to education, that these are sort of the initiatives or ideas that kind of get removed quite early on.
Do you know what would be ideal? If he could win, then he can put his earnings from winning towards paying for other people's dyslexia diagnostic assessments.
You're really going to get it. Hey? You're really going to get it. Not from me, I mean, just from...
So would you say, aside from Matt Hancock going on to I'm a Celeb to raise awareness about dyslexia, would you say that there's enough already being done, on TV or in media coverage to try and raise awareness about dyslexia?
I think that the awareness that is being raised, especially throughout the past couple of years, is really starting to change and really starting to gain traction, which is amazing.
I do think it's important that we start to see some people of colour, some gay people, some trans people, people outside of the white middle class kind of image, like championing dyslexia, because at the moment it's not very diverse, and it's making it very difficult for those who may not look like Matt or come from Matt's background to even see that they might be dyslexic too.
I also just think that sometimes you've got to do things differently.
Certainly sure going on I'm a Celeb is the way to do it, but you're doing you, and it's a decision that you've made, and it'll be really, honestly, it would be fascinating just to see.
My message to Matt Hancock would be, please don't sing Ed Sheeran. We've experienced that enough.
Stay safe. Don't eat anything disgusting.
My message to Matt Hancock would be, first of all, good luck. Whether we agree with the fact that as an active MP you've gone into the jungle or not is a whole different conversation. But if you're going to be there, please do the dyslexic community service by being authentic, by being honest. Please don't mask your dyslexia, because it will be so empowering and uplifting for that community to see that their struggles are the norm. And if someone that was once health secretary, if someone that is in a very important job has that condition and in some respects has been able to thrive or at least land themselves on a reality TV show, then they can do whatever they hope to do too.
If he's going to be in this for the long haul, and if he is saying that he's going to talk about dyslexia, I think, yeah, do it. Talk about dyslexia and talk about it, and highlighting all of the different aspects of dyslexia. Try to get rid of the misconceptions surrounding dyslexia. Try to show the benefits of dyslexia. Try to highlight how it can be something that can set you back in some ways, but really massively can help benefit your life and others.
Keep plugging away at the dyslexia message that you're plugging at, because it's important. If you can't read, write and do a few sums in this life, it is hard. So we need to support our kids, because they're our kids. Our kids they're the future of our country, and we need to make sure our kids are properly supported, properly cared for. It's part of caring for and loving and supporting our children to make sure they can do what they need to do.